All right, in this video, I'm gonna be sharing with you how I pay myself as an online coach. And to do that, I'm gonna show you my entire financial operating system as far as like the bank accounts that I use, the credit cards that I use, how I organize it, and how I move all the money around. Because if you're new to business or if you've been in it for a little bit, you know that if you make $10,000 to $20,000 a month as a business owner or as a coach, you personally don't make that amount of money. You're gonna take home half of that or maybe even less. So because of that, you need to have a good financial system in place so that you can pay yourself appropriately, you can reinvest back into the business, and you can pay your taxes. So in this video, I'm gonna cover exactly that. But before I do that, quick disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. I am not an accountant. Talk to your accountant, talk to smart financial people who are in your corner. This is just a snapshot of what I do, and it really helps me keep track of my money, my organization practices, all of that. Okay, so to do this, I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to my computer and let's jump in. All right, so here is a snapshot of my finance system, and we're gonna go over this one by one. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna blur all this stuff out so that you guys we'll just kind of reveal things one at a time. So as an online coach, my clients pay me, and typically they're gonna pay me, they have to pay me, they're gonna pay me from Stripe or PayPal. Now, I also listed up here Venmo and checks/direct deposit, just in case that applies to you, but someone's gonna pay you from some source. You might be using Wave, which is another payment processing system, but we've got Stripe, PayPal, Venmo, checks. All of this gets moved into one bank account, okay? I have one bank account here, and this is an income, I call it the income account. And this is a basic business checking account, nothing fancy here. All the money lands in this account every single day. And then once a week, I come in here, I typically do this on Sundays, and then I distribute out from this account to 4 different bank accounts. Okay, so now let's kind of reveal each of these accounts one by one. And you did hear that right, I have 5 bank accounts for my business. I have 5. I've actually got a couple more, but I'm not gonna include them because I think it's overkill. But I do have 5, in any business that I start, I always start with 5, okay? So first account, income account, it's a basic checking account. All the money that I make every single day gets deposited in there every week, open it up, and I distribute it accordingly. My first account that I have is a operating account. This is where all of the expenses from the business are going to be paid out from. The second account is the owner's account. This is where I pay myself. And if I had business partners, I would also pay them out from here too. This account here is my profit account. So this is, think of it as like a business savings account, right? And in here we want to have just some money is set aside for rainy day in case anything happens. And if nothing happens, we'll just take an extra paycheck the end of the quarter or end of the year. And then my last account that I've got over here is a tax account, okay? The tax account is where I save for taxes. I pay my taxes quarterly. When I first started business, I was just doing it annually because I didn't make that much money, but now I pay them quarterly, okay? Now, all of these are basic checking accounts. You can open them up at a small bank. I actually use a local bank. It's called Beacon Community Bank. That's where I'm from. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina, and it was a local bank in the area that I could do banking with. And the cool part, when you're looking for a bank here, we want to find a bank that has like very low minimums. We don't want like when I first started business, I was using Bank of America. And for me to open another checking account, it was like, you need to have at least $2,000 in this account. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have $2,000 in this account. I don't want $2,000 just to be sitting in this account. So I did some networking around my area, found some small banks, and the one that I went with had a $250 minimum and I think a $250 to $500 depending on the account. And that I was like, cool, I can leave $250 or $500 in here and be okay with that. There are some accounts that you can, or banks that will have a 0 minimum. So like you can just have as many accounts as you want. But that's what we're looking for. Ease of access. So like it's got a really simple interface. It's got low account minimums and you'll be good to go. Okay. So these are the accounts. Now, quickly, I want to talk about the percentages that I have listed out here. A lot of this what I'm talking about is from Profit First. So if you guys haven't read Profit First, I strongly recommend it. It's a really good book at just helping you set up accounts like this system. And it's been really helpful for me. Before that, I just had, a basic business checking and savings account, and that was it. But I couldn't really look at those and figure out how the health of my business was. But with this, I can. And I really like organization. It's probably one of my biggest skill sets in business as well as my personal life. So when I found this, it just clicked and made sense. So we'll kind of talk about this more. And that's the percentages that I listed here, okay, is what Profit First recommends. Now, mine are not this way at all. They're very, very different. But for most people getting started, most online coaches, I wanted to stick with what Profit First recommended, okay? So inside of your operating account, this is again how much it's going to cost you to run the business. Typically, every single week, I would just move 30% of this money over here. And then I would move into my owner's account, which is how much I pay myself. I would put 50% in here. My profit account, I put about 5% in there. And then my tax account, I would put about 15% in there. Now you might be saying, Matt, 15%, I thought I needed to save 30% for taxes. You need to save 30% of what you pay yourself, okay? So if I pay myself 50% of the total, what is 50% of the total would be 15%. So essentially just dividing 30, right? 30 divided by 15, right? That makes sense. Now, if that didn't make sense, all you really need to do is you could change this to 30% of owner's account of what you pay yourself. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So those are the 5 accounts that we've got here. Now, as you grow, things are going to shift. So for me, like I said, mine is different. We do over $100,000 a month, and we're growing and we're investing a lot back into the business. So these numbers are pretty much flipped, and probably even less than that. There's probably more money that's going into the operating account and less that's going to my account, right? But that's okay, because I'm still able to pay myself $10,000 to $20,000 a month while the business is growing. So I'm happy to do that. I don't need more than that. I keep doing that, and I put more into the business. But I'm hesitant on sharing that because I want you as the new business owner, or someone if you're doing less than $50K a month, most of this money should be going to you, not going back to the business. Let me repeat that. Most of the money that you make should be going to you, not the business, when you're new. The whole goal of business is to generate profit, aka money to pay yourself. I've seen way too many entrepreneurs who are not paying themselves, and it's like this, they're excited about it. Yeah, I didn't pay myself this month. I put it all back into the business. There's no guarantee that the business is going to make more money the next month, the month after that, the month after that. So pay yourself now while you're profitable, okay? I know you may not want to, because I want to get to 100K months or 50K months, but pay yourself. You guys are working so hard, and business is volatile. It is very volatile, okay? So pay yourself. When you're profitable, pay yourself, put the rest back into the operating account, okay? So highly recommend sticking these to start. Now, let's talk about where all this money is, what I do with this money. All right, send in these accounts, but what do they do? So we're going to start actually with the tax account and work our way backwards. So again, I pay myself my taxes quarterly. And for this account, actually this account and this profit account, I'm going to give you guys a pro tip here. I actually use a high yield savings account for both of these, because money in these two accounts just sits there. It just sits there and it accumulates until I'm ready to pay them quarterly, right? And inside my profit account, I'm putting 5% in here, but really what I'm trying to hit is I want to have 3 months of operating expenses saved up here, okay? And that's the most important for me, because that gives me 3 months of rainy day funds if stuff totally, if a quote unquote shit hits the fan, right? If something happens, I want to be able to be in business without taking on debt for at least 3 months. At that point, if I was still in debt, I'd probably have to really cut my expenses back, and which is totally fine. That happens sometimes in business. Hasn't happened to me yet, but I hope it doesn't. But you want to be prepared in case that ever does happen. What if you rely 100% on Facebook ads, and all of a sudden your account gets banned, or Facebook goes out of business? That would be crazy, but let's say that it happens. And you're like, oh no, I got to figure out how I'm going to get more leads. I need to invest into other marketing strategies. We got to figure out something that's going to work. But while that's happening, your revenue might drop a little bit. And you need to have some money aside so that you're not going into debt or you're freaking out if you break even 1 month or you're a little bit in the red. Okay? Don't recommend being in the red at all. But if you do, you've got cash ready for it. Okay? Now, here's my quick tip for both of these is you can open a high yield savings account and keep it all in there. High yield savings accounts right now, as I'm filming this, you can get about a 5% return annually. So I put my money into those, and I do have 2 separate high yield savings accounts. I probably could lump them together and I might get a better return. I'm not sure if I do the math or not, but to be honest, I just like the organization piece of it. So I have 2 separate high yield savings accounts. One is for taxes and one is profit, AKA business savings. Okay. And then these other 2 accounts are checking accounts. They're normal accounts. And then from this owner's account, right? I just transfer directly from here to my personal checking. I'll do that once or twice a month. I don't typically do that on a weekly basis. Okay. But you can just, shoot money over from this account to your personal checking and you're good to go. Okay. Don't have to do anything else. If you are set up as a S Corp, which I typically recommend, again, I'm not an accountant, but I typically do for myself when I'm doing around 10 to 20K a month, I will go ahead and set up as an S Corp. And to do that, you're going to need to pay yourself a W-2, right? And you'll want to set up payroll, all that fun stuff. Payroll is ran from this account, right? And I also will take distributions, okay? So distributions are essentially profit that I'm paying on top of what my salary is, okay? If you want help with this, go talk to your accountant. They'll be able to help you a lot more on determining if you're ready to be taxed as an S Corp and set up that way. And they can also help you set up payroll, all that stuff. Okay. So far we covered these accounts. Now let's jump over to our operating account. So our operating account, the 2 main expenses that you're going to be paying with your operating account are going to be contractors and credit card bills. Okay. Credit card bills only pay for what you have, right? Like I've never gone into debt being like, I'm going to go sign up for this mastermind or course and put on a credit card and hope I make my money back. Or I'm going to go put $1,000 on this credit card. I hope I make it back. I do not do that. That's not a good, healthy finance practice. You can get yourself into a lot of trouble that way. But you can rack up a ton of points if you use credit cards for expenses that you have the cash for. So I run all of my expenses on a credit card, except for what I pay my contractors. And the reason for that is what I do it directly from this account in my bank. I just have, I have direct deposit set up. So I have my employees or contractors will send me their bank account information and I will just transfer direct deposit money from this account to their personal checking accounts. Or if they have a business, I'll transfer it to their business account from this account. And I don't do it on a credit card because credit card will typically take anywhere from 2 to 4%. So I choose to not have my employees send me PayPal links and stuff like that. I just send it straight to them. I want them to have that money without having fees taken off from it. Now I could, and I know a lot of online entrepreneurs who have contractors send them invoices and they pay with credit cards so they can stack more points. I don't do that. Again, I want my employees to be paid well, and I don't do that. Okay, could, just don't. And so credit card, only paying for the money that we have, right? We're not putting anything else aside. If you want to buy something and you don't have that amount in the account, do not buy it. Do not buy it. Okay, don't do that. We're only using what we have in this account to buy things, okay? If we don't have things, we've got to cut expenses or we can't make that purchase, okay? Now, what goes on the credit card? Here are all the things that are going to go onto your credit card. Phone bill, okay? If you have a phone, even if it's again, this is what I do. I want to make sure you talk to your accountant about this, make sure that this is right for you. I'm just showing you what I put on my credit card here, okay? So my phone bill. Even though I use it for both personal, I'll use it a lot for business. So my phone bill does go through the credit card, right? It is a expense. I have to have this device to run my business. So it goes through the business. I pay with my business credit card. Software, to do this, you guys I'm on a screen recording software. I've got Whimsical. I don't think I pay for this version. I have in the past. I've got some editing stuff that I use. I've got Go High Level, which is my CRM. I've got, oh man, I just have a lot. I have a lot of different softwares that I use together. I've got up here Active Campaign. I've got School. I've got Google Drive, like the bigger version. I've got, what else do I got? URL Genie. I've got so many softwares. I spend probably anywhere between $1,000 to $4,000 a month on software right now, which is crazy. But I've got a virtual business, and that's part of it, is like being able to automate a lot of things. So all of those go onto a credit card. Paid ads, those all go to a credit card, right? Business coaching, if you make any business coaching expenses, credit card. Office supply, this chair I'm sitting in, this microphone, this camera, credit card. And then travel. Okay, travel, you got to be careful on. Like, a lot of times you may do. I try to do travel on places that I also can do business in. So like, if I'm going somewhere, I can create some content, or I can do a collaboration with somebody. I try to do personal. I try to combine those together so that I can cover the cost of the flight, Airbnb, all of that can be put on their credit card. But again, there does need to be some business and personal stuff going on for you to make that as a business expense, right? All right, things that are not included in this are going to be things like your rent. I have a client come to me and say, I put everything through my business, and they tell me they put their rent through their business, and I'm like, you should talk to an accountant. I don't think you're allowed to do that. Like pet expenses, your gym membership, certain things like that you can't technically do, or I wouldn't recommend doing. Now, you might be able to get through with the gym membership if you're an online trainer or an online coach, and you're filming content in the gym on a consistent basis. Then, if it was me, I would still run it through. But if you're not doing that, don't do that, right? Really, like the rule is supposed to be, only run through things that are absolutely necessities, to the business, right? If this is absolutely a necessity around the business, we can run it through. Okay. Now, next thing I want to cover on here is the credit cards that I use. So I use 2 credit cards right now for my business. I'm probably going to start getting a little bit more, but I use the American Express Gold Card, business Gold Card, not the personal, business Gold Card for paid ads. It gives me 4 points on the dollar for paid ads, which is crazy. And I actually card stack these, so I have 2 of them. Because there's a certain limit. It gives you 4 times points up to $150,000 in spend per annual year. And then once you're past that, it'll go to 1 times. So I'm going to pass that this year. So I have 2 cards to stack them. And again, if next year my ad budget goes up more, I'll probably get another one, right? So I can stack the same card to keep racking up points. I only use the gold card for paid ads. Now, for the other card that I use a Spark 2% Cash Plus. And I use this because it gives me 2% cash back. I actually, honestly, if I was to start all over again, I'm starting to now get into the points game. So I actually would more than likely go with the Venture X. It still gives me 2% cash, 2% on everything, but I'm starting to get into the points game. So I would actually get this card if I was to do it again. But yeah, 2%. So essentially this gives me 2% back on all of my purchases that I make. Okay, so I use that one and the American Express. So these are the accounts that I have set up. Again, I move my money weekly. I know some people do it bi-weekly, like Profit First says to do it twice a month. I like looking at the stuff weekly, and my expenses change a lot, especially with ads. There may be some weeks that we spend, 5 to 8K a month on ads. And like last month was a holiday week, so we only spent 2K. So I like to move things a little bit more frequently and have my pulse on it a little bit better. But for some people that might be too much. All right. So here's how all the money flows in the accounts that they go through, so that I can pay everything on time. The thing that I use to track all of the expenses is I use QuickBooks. Okay, QuickBooks is an awesome tool, and what I can do inside of QuickBooks is I can link all 5 of my accounts and all of my credit cards to QuickBooks. And then once a week, I can go through. I actually hired a bookkeeper here recently, and they'll go through and categorize all the expenses. Because at the end of the year, when you file taxes, you're going to need to essentially just like give the IRS all of the purchases you made in categories, right? So you're like, here's all the money that I spent on marketing. Here's all the money that I spent and paid people. Here's all the money I paid myself. Here's all the money I paid in estimated taxes. Here's where all the money went, right? And by doing that at the end of the year, that will allow you to know how much am I supposed to pay and how much, or have I overpaid and will they pay me back, right? So that's the entire system as a whole. I could get really nitty gritty on what I do with personal finance, because my personal finance, I also have 5 or 6 accounts in addition to these ones that helps me manage my personal finance as well. Okay. And like I said, I'm getting into the points game, so there's more there. But I hope this helps. I really like this system. Again, a lot of this is based off of profit first. I do have different percentages here that I pay myself, but I hope this helps you guys get a good understanding of how money flows in my business so I can pay myself. All right. If you guys are looking for help growing your coaching business, I will have a link down below to book a call with our team. And to be honest, our main bread and butter is helping our clients grow and scale their business, get more clients, add 10 to 20K a month to their business in 6 months. And we do that through coaching people in marketing and sales and helping them set up really predictable client acquisition systems. But there is some content in there on this stuff too. And then you also can get access to me and I can kind of coach you through, again, what I do. Not a financial advisor, not an accountant, not a legal tax professional, not me, no. But I can definitely tell you what I do with my companies that I run. All right, so that's what we got for you guys today. Thank you guys for being here and we'll chat soon. Peace.